Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. I'm Gargi Raut and I'm here in Leeds, and this will be our final video from the city because now the caravan will head to Birmingham. But right now we're here to talk about my 3 takeaways from the series, starting with, and I will especially start on a positive note because everywhere around social media or in the cricketing fraternity, there's a lot of negativities revolving around this first test match. But I will start on a positive note and I will say that the biggest takeaway from this series is the fact that you had 5 centurions in the test match with treacherous English conditions, overcast conditions, the ball swinging left and right, Ben Stokes, Bryden Cast, Chris Wokes running in and having a dangerous spin. But at the same time, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Rishabh Pant, KL Rahul and the others stood up to the challenge. You also had a contribution there from Sai Sudarshan for a little bit. He might not have been able to get a huge total, but at the same time, he showed you that he belongs in the team and that he can negate alongside KL Rahul those treacherous English conditions. Now, one of the biggest things that this positive takeaway gives you is the fact that in the next team selection for the second test match at Birmingham, you can go in with a more aggressive team. Now you can actually forget about that cushion when it comes to batting, and that is what we saw in that first selection, is the fact that you had a Shardul Thakur and Karun Nair and Sai Sudarshan, all 3 of them in the team. It was quite evident that the management was going with a more cushiony batting approach where obviously you expected the England team to go with a more of a baseball approach and you expected a lot of runs to be put on the scoreboard. Now that's something, now it tells you that the Indian batters can actually give you a lot of runs and put up a lot of runs on the scoreboard. So now, instead of a Karun Nair, you can afford to have a Nitish Kumar Reddy in the team. He gives you that batting and when needed, he can also bowl a few overs. On the other hand, when it comes to a Shardul Thakur, you can actually replace him with a Kuldeep Yadav, because looking back at that first test match, when you realized what Ravindra Jadeja was doing with the ball, there was actually some purchase for spinners on that pitch, which was also sort of called like a flat tech. A lot of people called it a flat tech because of the way that even at the final session of the test match on day 5, it did not break up. So when you really look at it, if you had a Kuldeep, in hindsight, again, in hindsight, if you had a Kuldeep Yadav in that team, Ravindra Jadeja from one end, getting the ball to turn, troubling the tail enders and the middle order batters of that English lineup that bats till the very end, till number 9 with Bryden Cast and Chris Wokes, that partnership could have possibly ended earlier if you had a Kuldeep Yadav also coming in from the other end, bowling those tight lengths. And you also have to remember that none of the English batters, especially the newer ones, the one who are fairly inexperienced, have never played left arm wrist spinners before. And especially Kuldeep Yadav brings in a lot of mystery. So you can now afford to have that in place of a Shardul Thakur who had a below par performance in the first test match. These are the 2 takeaways. The third one will obviously be about the catching and the misfields that you saw in that field. Now, there's a saying in cricket, and it is hammered into your brain ever since you start playing. If you have played even a little bit of cricket professionally or club cricket, you would be told by your coaches again and again, time and again, catches win you matches. And that we could have seen that happening in that first test match against England, but it did not happen because you saw a total of 6 to 7 catches being dropped. On the other hand, you also have a lot of opportunities, run-out opportunity being missed by a Mohammad Siraj, a lot of boundaries being let go. Even in that final 2 sessions of day 5, you had a Karun Nair who let go of the ball and it went between his legs. A classic. I mean, this is something you do not see often in international cricket, which is why Indian team will have to pull up their socks. When it comes to intensity on that field, they will have to bring the intensity. They will have to make sure that those doubles turn into singles and those singles turn into dot balls. Now, Shubhayan Chakravarti and Rohit Juglan will tell you their takeaways from the first test match of this series. Again, it's not done yet. It's not over yet. We still have 4 more matches to go. But here's Rohit and Shubhayan for you guys.
The Anderson-Tendulkar Trophy will now move to Birmingham. Team India has already reached there. You can see, go and check out the visuals of team leaving the Queen's Hotel here in Headingley, Leeds. But now the focus will be on to breaching the Edgbaston, the fortress where India have never won a test match in the history of test cricket. And it will be a tough fight because the stingy defeat which we witnessed here in Headingley, that has raised quite a few questions around the Indian team, their bowling attack, their lower middle order, the catching. There are a lot of questions, points to be talked about. So we'll discuss a few. So let's start with number 1 point, Harshit Rana. We did not see him leaving the team hotel along with the all the players who left from Leeds to Birmingham. So there are chances that Harshit Rana, and even Gambhir was asked about
but
this.
You told me that it's written in the mail itself.
He was added just for one test.
For one test.
And Gambhir, when he was asked about him in the press conference, he said that there was a niggle among the fast bowling group, and that is the reason that Harshit Rana was added for the first test, and he will have to talk with the chairman of selectors Ajit Agarkar as to what to do with Harshit Rana. But as of now, what we know, Harshit Rana
was not on that bus. But you also know the name of the bowler who
Akashdeep, clearly Akashdeep was having a niggle. He was injured after the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Spent some time in the
new NCA
Center of Excellence in Bengaluru. Joined the Lucknow Super Giants team a bit late for the IPL, and after a few matches he was not part of the playing 11 as well. And even you were there in Beckenham for the India A games. He was part of the squad but did not play a single game.
Only fast bowler. He joined late because he played. I think he was part of the last game. If you see the Lucknow
Shardul was not part of that game, but Akashdeep was part of it.
Yes, so Shardul came a game for the Canterbury game. He missed the RCB game, and Akashdeep was part of that game, and Akashdeep joined a day later. So when the Canterbury game started, it was like Akashdeep was not part of the squad at that point of time, but later he did. But he was the only bowler, if you see, the fast bowler who didn't play both the games. You talk about the Canterbury game, you talk about the Northampton game. He wasn't part of both the games. So but at the very moment, I just want to add this, that he was very much active as far as those practice drills were concerned, those in between, in breaks, bowling practices during the time of lunch, warm-up drills, nets. He was part of each and everything.
What I came to know is that the bowling group was trying to build his load up for the test series, and of course he missed the first.
Which happened with Mohammad Shami also. If you see earlier in this year when he was playing that England series, the ODI series I'm talking about, and the T20 series, at that point of time, if you see, he missed the first couple of games, and that's again the same point which Shubhanda just told, that it was the load up thing at that point of time also. So it was clearly written in the BCCI mail which we got. I think it was now 7 days, 8 days before this test match, the first test match, that Harshit Rana will part of the test squad only for the first match. So he as Shubhanda told you, that he was not part of that bus ride from Leeds to Birmingham, and now we'll see that what will be the combination there. But as per combinations, Jasprit Bumrah, a question mark, that will he be there. He bowled around 45 overs, to be very precise, it's 44.4. So can we say that you will see Jasprit Bumrah, because there is a bit of gap between these two test matches, almost 8-day gaps. Team India will rest. I'm just scrolling the reels, and I found this reel where I found two reels, where in one reel Sunil Gavaskar and Cheteshwar Pujara insisting Sanjana Ganeshan to tell Jasprit Bumrah that he has to play all these 5 matches.
Sanjana Ganeshan, I think, said in one of the interviews with Jasprit Bumrah, please.
So I'm coming to that video, and then Sanjana talking to Jasprit Bumrah, and Jasprit said we'll talk about it later. And he just finished up the things there.
So Jasprit Bumrah will be on focus, but the good thing is we have a 10-day gap in between this test. India will rest up. They travelled yesterday. They will rest up today. For tomorrow also, there's no clarity that whether they will be training or not. But 28th
we are hearing this, that there will be a practice session behind closed doors. No media opportunity for that.
It is a possibility, but let's see what happens, whether media will be allowed or not, because here in Australia, in England, you see the proper nets, they are availed only 2 days before the match. They are available only 2 days before the game starts. So that is a thing which India need to prepare well. If they don't get access to the nets, then practice catching some.
Yeah. But Jasprit Bumrah, what do you think?
It will be a tricky call, but
yeah.
10-day gap, I think he will be fit for the Edgbaston test, especially now that India are 1-0 down. Without Bumrah, you don't want them to go 2-0 down just after two tests. India have never won a test match in Edgbaston. England have a terrific record there. Again, we were talking to a few curators last the evening where the match ended, and they were saying it is going to be pretty hard and similar to what Headingley produced. So expect runs, and when you expect runs, you can't just give the baseball, this England team, the advantage of going about their business like they do. So you need
Yes.
Jasprit Bumrah for the second test. You equalize the series, you create history in Edgbaston. The entire motivation among the group will be sky high if India goes on to win that test, and after that you can take a chance of resting Jasprit Bumrah in Lords, because that will be a bit of a flatter deck, although there's a slope. But with the
Jasprit
slope,
Bumrah, no.
but with the slope, I think other bowlers will also, other pacers will
Come
also,
into the picture also.
enjoy bowling there.
But when Shubhanda said this, that he'll be fit, just to say this, that he is completely fit at
fit,
this point of time. But it's all about how much time you will give him to just rest and come back the Jasprit Bumrah you want in each and every game.
Because the turnabout between
turnaround time is very less.
Birmingham and Lords is very less, so you might just give Jasprit Bumrah.
And then there is a good amount of time between Lords to Manchester, and then again a quick turnaround between Manchester and Oval. So we have to see this. So when we are saying this, that Jasprit Bumrah, him to be completely fit, yes, we all are on the same page where Cheteshwar Pujara and Sunil Gavaskar are. We want him to play all 5 matches, but we don't want what we saw in Sydney. We
don't want him to miss the next T20.
Both of them, we were there. We were just came out, with few other colleagues of us. We were just right behind the gate, and there we saw an Australian journalist coming down, and he was just tracking that Jasprit Bumrah going out with some medical people, and then he was sitting in an ambulance or something like that, and he was just out. And from that point we knew that something big has happened. And we were talking about it, that workload balance, we have to put a check in front of Jasprit Bumrah's name, because he was bowling these 50-50 overs in Melbourne, and that was hot, Shubhanda. That was hot. Longer spells.
Here you are seeing him bowl 4-5 overs,
hard landings.
There it is soft here, but you have a slope here as well in almost all the grounds. But again, it will be critical on how the team management deals with Jasprit Bumrah and where they bowl. They will have to be precise with their planning. They will have to be immaculate on what ground, on which ground, against which batters you want Jasprit Bumrah. You ideally,
and conditions will be also a part of it.
Yes, absolutely.
That what kind of like how I see is that I don't want a Jasprit Bumrah in oval. Means knowing the conditions as of now.
You will want Kuldeep Yadav, you will want Ravindra Jadeja or Washington Sundar to run through the opposition there. But oval Bumrah won't be needed. I am pretty sure Edgbaston will be a spicy pitch in the initial days. They will for sure try in the first couple of days.
And in the Midland parts of the country, they have some rain there. As far as the the other part, because after that you have to play 2 games in. Means I'm not saying the south part of the country, but almost in those part of the country where you see rather a flat deck, like Lords, you talked about it, and Oval, and then you have something in Manchester also, but we'll come to it later. But right now it's all about the other permutations and combinations. Shubhanda, what do you make of the other changes? Shardul Thakur, there's a question mark.
You were hearing something about Sai Sudarshan?
Sai, I yesterday having a word after the game, and there were multiple sources who are claiming this, that he was facing some problem in his shoulder, but that was not big. That was not big, and that's why if you see his field positions, if you look at Sai Sudarshan's short forward leg slips, leg slip area. So he and for once he came to, and that's where I first observed this, that once he came to the far side of the boundary, and there he throw, he pick up the ball and throw, and after that he was uncomfortable. His throw was also like a two tip throw or a 3-trip throw, but it was more about the kind of pain he felt in his shoulder. So at that, and I remember the same thing, which we can't say here because it was an unofficial, media was not allowed to cover that game in the intra-squad game. But sources told me certain things about that game also, as far as Sai Sudarshan is concerned. So let's not just get into that.
But in case just Sai Sudarshan is carrying a niggle and can't play.
Means at this point of time, what I know that he is not 100% fit, but it's not like we can say that, oh no, he'll be out of the series because of that.
That's too far. But I'm just talking about the Edgbaston test. In case there's a niggle and he does not recover completely, then India can go with Karun Nair at 3 and play a proper batter in that number 6 spot. Play a Dhruv Jurel.
Whatever they want. If they want to go with an extra seamer,
they can go with Nitish Kumar Reddy at number 6. What I feel, and drop a Shardul Thakur. Play a Kuldeep Yadav there. You will have a leg spinner. Even if the pitch is on the flatter side, it's hard. Then finger spinners won't come into play. Ravindra Jadeja got only 1 wicket in this test. That too on a day 5 track against Ben Stokes, who was trying to forcing the reverse sweeps there. And there was a big hole there in that rough there in that pitch. You saw we saw after the game there. So just play Ravindra Jadeja not picking wicket. I think I'll play number 6 either Nitish Kumar Reddy, who can give you a few overs, 10-12 overs he can bowl like Shardul Thakur, and play a Kuldeep Yadav. If you need a Chinaman, if you need a leg spinner, you will get that. He will get that assistance from any side.
And this wicket, if you see, the Leeds wicket was very much apt as far as Kuldeep Yadav is concerned. The kind of turn, the kind of when Jadeja started to bowl a little slower and he was giving it more air, it was really helpful. These wicket, specifically this wicket, and Shoaib Bashir did it also. So I think let's see. We have to see the surface first, and then we have to make a call. But any other changes, if you want to see wicket-wise, anything.
Prasidh bowled well in the last day, but again, if you pick up his entire test match, 5 wickets, 225 runs conceded at an economy of 6.5. I think that's too much that's too much to help England batters settle down. So I'll pick someone who is more accurate. If Akashdeep is fit, as Gambhir claimed that all the bowlers are fit. He did not mention any name. The name we got is from our sources. But if Akashdeep is fit, play him. He can bowl longer spells. He can give your Jasprit Bumrah extra rest if required. He can be tight. He can swing the ball, seam the ball, have the ability. Or if you want a different element, then you can play Arshdeep Singh. Give him the debut cap and tell him
left arm seamer.
Tell him that give wickets with the new ball, which Siraj is also struggling. So he can pair up with Jasprit Bumrah and the T20 partnership that we saw. We can see that in red ball cricket as well. So Akashdeep or Arshdeep Singh for Prasidh Krishna, Kuldeep Yadav for Shardul Thakur. And if Sai Sudarshan is not fit, play Karun at 3. Give him the best spot that he has batted in for Vidarbha in Ranji Trophy and for India A games as well. Scored a double ton there, so give him that best position
and
to
Nitish
him.
At 6.
Yes, and give him that best position and Nitish at 6.
So let's see what will be the permutations and combinations. We have to see the weather first. We have to see the the ground, specifically more specifically the pitch, and then we can closely tell you about that what's best for Indian team moving ahead.
Right.
At this point of time, we are giving all the updates as far as Rev Sports English is concerned. The Hindi platform, we are giving you each and every details. Do follow us on social media platforms also, because here you will get all the behind the scenes stuff. Team India traveling, Indian players going out for coffee, and each and everything. And then
mood inside the stadium and
outside. And then obviously there's YouTube, where you get each press conference, the analysis, the practice sessions, the videos of the players doing practice. It will be interesting from whenever they will allow us to shoot and upload.
Right.
We will give you information about it. So do hit that follow button if you are watching us on social media, and do subscribe if you are watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll keep coming and give you updates. Thank you.